like to welcome everybody to the Government Operations Committee meeting for Monday, October 18th, 2021. Tracy, can you call the roll, please?
Bala?
Here.
Payleitner? Here. Bongard?
Here.
Bancroft? Lencioni?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Here.
Moorball?
Here.
Besner?
Here.
Weber?
Here.
Thank you. Under administrative, we have fuel tax, and then we have video game statistics. Any questions or comments on those? Okay, moving on. We have item 4. We have one item and an honors vote. And I have a motion and a second, please.
Move for approval. Second.
Moved by Weber,
Move.
second by Besner. Let's see. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item 5A, Police Department. Recommendation to approve a proposal for C1 liquor license application for Brandon Wayne Enterprises, LLC, doing business as The Lewis, located at 106 East Main Street.
Chairman, please, before we go forward, let the record show that I'm excusing myself for discussion on this item.
Thank you. Alderman Lencioni will be excusing himself from this item. Good evening, Chief.
Hi, good evening. So this item appeared earlier this evening as well at the Liquor Control Commission meeting and advanced forward without any concerns. The applicants, petitioners are to my left, your right. This is the former 100 Grapes just east of my location here. They also own and operate Bogart's, which was formerly known as Ed's Basement. They are seeking a 2 a.m. permit. They are looking to cross-pollinate their food offerings and some of their beverage offerings with other businesses. So some of their food offerings will be supplied by the Blue Goose, and then they'll have a local brewery offerings as well, as far as in addition to wine. They're not operational yet. They're still doing some build out. They're looking for a mid-December opening, and myself or the petitioners can answer any questions you might have. There was a concern raised about a background issue. That particular case, there was a motion state noli pros, which means the case was dropped, so there was not any criminal convictions. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that any of the committee members might have.
Any questions? Alderman Weber.
Does Bogart's currently have a late night 2 a.m. liquor license?
They have a 1 a.m., I believe. They went from 1 to 2. Yes. 2 a.m.
Thank you.
Go
ahead, Brian.
Oh.
You were first. You're fine. Go ahead. It's okay.
Is there going to be a kitchen, or is it just bring the food in? How's that going to work?
They're going to bring the food in. There's not a
Okay.
commercial kitchen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So this might be better. I had a couple of constituents reach out with some concerns. I'm not sure if there was a news article or, social media something, but the idea that this would be classified as like a dive bar or something to that effect. And I was just hoping that, the petitioners could talk a little bit more about what their vision is for this space.
Sure, why don't we call them forward? Yeah. Why don't you step forward?
Good evening, guys. My name is Brandon Andreola. I'm one of the owners of the new location.
Yeah, name and address too, please.
Brandon Andreola. I live at 219 half West Main Street, above Bogart's, my other business. I'm here with my business partner, Rick Merman, and our general manager, Dan Thomas. Regarding that concern, we are not going to be a dive bar. It's going to be a high-end wine, whiskey bar, a lot of craft cocktails using very limited supply, whiskeys and bourbons, that kind of thing. Okay.
Any questions? Alderman Weber.
Do you plan on having music in your local?
Not live music.
Okay.
It is a smaller venue, so putting a stage and stuff like that just isn't going to be something we can do.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, can I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Moved by Weber, second by Petrella. Roll call, please.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Moorball?
Yes.
Besner?
Yes.
Weber?
Yes.
Bala?
Yes.
Payleitner? Yes. Bongard?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item 6A, Finance Department. Recommendation to accept the auditor's report for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2021, including the comprehensive annual financial report, independent auditor's report, pursuant to uniform guidance, board communications, pension fund reports, TIF audit presentation, and sales tax revenue bond compliance report. Good evening.
Good evening.
As you can see, at the end of the year, the Finance Department produces numerous number of reports, the most notable being the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, but also, as you mentioned, the TIF reports and single audit reports, in addition to some other compliance reports. All of these were in PDF version sent to you last week, so you had to take a chance to take a look at them. The state requires that the city's annual financial reports be audited by a CPA firm. Sickage has been our CPA firm and audited our statements for several years. As part of their process and in order to provide information to the committee, to council, they prepared a video which highlighted the financial results as well as the audit process. You received that last week. It was probably about 25 minutes. And it truly was just highlights as it looked at government-wide and concentrated on the government, on the general fund and the enterprise fund. Here tonight, I have the audit senior, Nick Bava, and he's going to summarize that even more to give you just an overview of those elements and then be able to answer any questions you may have or that came about as you reviewed that video or as he speaks today. Anything that comes up that you'd like to ask a question for. So I'll introduce Nick Bava.
Give your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, good evening. Nick Bava, 1563 Fairway Circle in Geneva, Illinois. So thank you to the mayor and members of City Council for having me here tonight. On behalf of Sickage, I am pleased to present the results of the audit as of April 30th, 2021. As Colleen alluded to, ultimately as part of the audit process, there are a multitude of deliverables, I believe 15 to be exact. Fred Lance is the director on the engagement, and he did a really nice job in that 25-minute interview expanding on those deliverables and the opinions associated with those deliverables. I'll provide a brief update and cover a few items outside of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And again, as Colleen alluded to, I'd be happy to answer any questions that might arise as part of this year's audit process. So for those following along, I'd like to start within the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report on page Roman numeral 3, it's on the hard copy, and then on page number 12 of the PDF itself. So this page is titled the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting issued by the Government Finance Officers Association. This is specific to the audit as of April 30th, 2020. It's their certificate issued for that audit. I would like to commend and congratulate the city for continuing to voluntarily prepare a comprehensive annual financial report, which is directly tied to the certificate. This report in 2021 and the previous reports for that matter go well above and beyond the reporting requirements that are set here in Illinois through compiled statutes as well as through generally accepted accounting principles. This report, as a result, is prepared in the spirit of full disclosure, accountability, and transparency to the city residents, taxpayers, and any user that might be interested in the city's financial position or fund balance. This certificate here in front of you tonight represents the 34th certificate received for comprehensive annual financial reports, and we anticipate that as part of the 2021 filing here tonight that the city will receive their 35th once that review has taken place. Moving along, I'd like to direct your attention to pages 20 through 23 of the PDF. Page 1 of the hard copy, 1, 2, and 3 of the hard copy. These pages are the independent auditor's report pages. In my opinion, these 3 pages are the most important pages throughout the audit report in that they articulate the auditor's opinion on the financial statements and dictate that there are no material misstatements as part of this year's audit. The second paragraph down, titled Management's Responsibility for the Financial Statements, articulates that it really is management and the finance department's responsibility to prepare these financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The following paragraph, the auditor's responsibility paragraph, articulates that as the city independent auditor, it's our job to obtain an opinion on these financial statements in accordance with standards set by generally accepted auditing standards. Moving on to the next page, the top of this page, the opinions page, page number 2, I'm pleased to report that based on the testing and the procedures performed, we believe tonight that the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the city's governmental activities, business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information as of April 30th, 2021. This is what's referred to as an unmodified opinion. It is a clean opinion, and it is the highest level of assurance that we as the city auditor can provide. So we commend and congratulate the city on obtaining this opinion. The final page of this report on the bottom, I would just like to point out to council tonight that the final paragraph documenting other reporting required by government auditing standards. This is a direct connection to the uniform grant guidance or the single audit that the city had to undergo this fiscal year. Anytime in a fiscal year that the city expends greater than $750,000 in federal grant money, there are certain compliance tests and procedures that have to be underwent for the particular programs that drove the city beyond that threshold. In the case of 2021, the COVID-19 relief funding that was passed down through Kane County, initially from the United States Department of Treasury, those were federal dollars, and those had to undergo certain compliance tests. I'm pleased to report that as part of our testing, we did not identify any instances of noncompliance or question costs that we needed to disclose here tonight. The following page right after, on page 24, is the management discussion and analysis. The management discussion and analysis is 14 pages, and if there is one section I highly recommend reviewing as part of the comprehensive annual financial report, it's this section. It's a very well-prepared 14 pages, and it gives management, particularly the finance department, an opportunity to provide some context and some underlying reasons to the reader as to what happened during fiscal year 2021 and the certain changes that occurred from 2020 to this year. As we all know, this comprehensive annual financial report includes a lot of different statements and schedules and numbers. These 14 pages actually put words on paper and give the users some context as to what has changed. So it's a very well put together 14 pages, and congratulate Colleen for doing such a terrific job on that this year. Last section I will cover here tonight are pages 38 and 39 of the PDF, pages 4 and 5 of the hard copy, and these two pages are titled the Statement of Net Position. The Statement of Net Position is the front of the financial statements, the government-wide financial statements, and it is the long-term perspective balance sheet for the city for every given fiscal year. This statement is the consolidated balance sheet, including governmental activities as well as business-type activities. And what's unique about this balance sheet versus the majority of the other balance sheets throughout the statements is that it is recorded on the long-term full accrual basis of accounting. So it not only includes short-term activity, but it also includes the long-term activity, such as from an asset standpoint, your capital assets and related depreciation. It includes the long-term bonds payable, the net pension liabilities, those items that extend and are owed well beyond 1 year. When we look at the overall net position for the end of the fiscal year, governmental activities had a net position of just over $91 million, which was up from about $460,000 from the previous fiscal year. From a business type activity standpoint, and I'll mention business type activities as the utility funds, the water utility, the electric utility, those utilities that the city owns and operates. Net position was up right around $6 million during this fiscal year to a total of $151 million. Overall, I just want to point out from a governmental activities perspective, you'll note the unrestricted deficit of $27 million, just shy of $27 million. This is a very consistent deficit that we see through other municipalities of similar size to St. Charles, and that's really primarily driven through the reporting requirements that changed 5 or 6 years ago specific to pension liabilities. Government reporting standards required that governments disclose and report pension liabilities for defined pension benefit plans on the face of their financial statements. So when we look at the city's participation in defined pension benefits between Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, the police pension plan, and the fire pension plan, those total liabilities aggregate out to around $53 million as of this fiscal year. So when you take that out, there's overall an unrestricted positive net position of right around $26 million. So I just wanted to point that out. That deficit is really primarily being driven through those pension liabilities, and that's consistent across the board with other similar municipalities. So that will conclude my presentation. I would just like to extend my thanks and gratitude towards Colleen and the finance department, the folks that we work with directly as part of this audit. It's a terrific group of people that's very organized, well-prepared, and very diligent. And the city should be very proud of the folks that handle the city's finances on a daily basis. Thank you again for having me. Thank you to the mayor, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the council?
Just thank you for the shout out to our financial department.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Any other questions or comments from anybody? Okay. See, recommendations. So I do need a motion and a second.
Whoever will move to accept.
Moved by Center, second by Lencioni. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Any additional items from staff, council, audience? Okay, there's no executive session. So, have a motion and a second to adjourn.
So move.
Moved by Wirball, seconded by?
Dozer, second.
Second by Besley, sorry. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion passes. We are adjourned.